Hey, what's going on everybody? In this video we're going to take a look at how to diagram using web-based tools that are free. So we're going to start with Google Maps, and here I just search boating marinas, hit enter, and it shows me in red all the different boating marinas that exist here in the Chicagoland area. This could be wherever you are. So here I like the Lincoln Park Boat Club location, so I'm going to click on that, and this might become the basis for this project. So I'm just going to go to copy address in Google Earth, which you can go to earth.google.com. We can go and we can search for that location. Go ahead and click on it, and then it'll go and bring us to that location. From here, we can go and create a project. Going to projects, you would just go to new project. Here I've made one called Boating Marina. From here, at your project location, you just click add to project, and it'll drop a icon on that project location. You can also go to new feature, and you can draw or place a shape. And when you do that, you can go and create a border around the property site, and if you want to edit that feature, you just click on the pencil icon, and you can go and change the color, you can change the line weight, and you can change the fill color if that's applicable to your to the shape that you drew. So if you drew a closed polygon, you can go and change the surface color, the fill color, and the amount of opacity on that. And then from there, you can also tag other areas. So in the Google Maps, we can go and we can filter out what we're seeing. So we can go to everything, and with everything on, if we wanted to, let's say, note where this museum was as well. Let's say we thought there was an interaction with our project and that. We can go and say add to project, and we can say save, and then we see that pop up here. We can go and we can edit how that looks. So let's say it was something that we wanted people to be able to hike to or not go and see, or maybe we thought it was very scenic. We can go and we can change how that looks. Maybe these are nearby amenities that we have near our project, and then we could check the distance. So that way when we go and diagram our distance, we can do that with a ruler, and we can go and click on that location, and then we can note that it's about a quarter mile away. We can change how we're seeing this in feet. I like to go miles, because then I can do a walk calculator to go from how many miles for how long it might take to walk 0.23 miles. So that's one way to do it. Another is to check the actual path. Right, so that's 0.27 if we actually took the street or the road. We could also go and check that distance, along more of a pedestrian path. And we could also note these paths using the new feature and draw a path as well. So here I have a path that was drawn to the yacht club to the boating marina as well. So we can, when we go to export our images, we can either keep these on or not. And same thing with the map. We can keep everything on, we could just do exploration, we could do clean. And so I like to at least export a clean map in addition to everything else. So back to the project, and I'm going to actually take away the site, and I'm just going to kind of find a view that I think looks best. And from here we can use snipping tool. So I'm going to go to new. I'm just going to do that again, and I'm going to snip my project, knowing that my marina is right here, and I'm just going to save that to my desktop. And so here I have it. I'm going to override it. And then from here, we can go and take that same address. So we're just going to go and copy this address, and we can go to CAD Mapper. And in CAD Mapper, cadmapper.com, we can go and search for a location. So I'm going to go and paste that in, hit enter to search, and it's going to bring up our file location. And we need to know where our project exists within this to make sure that we're capturing the right amount of space. And so I know that the boating marina that I want is this shaped building right here. And then CAD Mapper itself will give you a free file up to 1 kilometer squared. So I'm going to go and capture as much as I can for a free file right now. So if I scroll out, I can capture more, or I can manipulate the grips on here to get exactly what I want. And so there we go. And then I'm going to do an Illustrator file, because I'm going to bring it into a program called Gravit, which works with vector line work. Otherwise, I can download it for CAD, for Rhino, DXFs. These can also get brought into Revit. And so I'm going to go and create a file. Now with this file, we can download the actual SVG vector file, which then we can edit with Gravit. We can also take the PNG file from the preview, which I find is a really handy shortcut when you're going to do some diagrams. So this is the file we'll download for a Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator file. So we'll download that. It's all vector line work. And then here we're going to right click and we're going to save this PNG file as well. So I'm just going to save it as shaded image and say save. Now we're going to go into Gravit. So gravit.io or designer.gravit.io is a way we can bring in maps, and we can go and bring in our work for this. So I'm just going to do a new design, and I'm going to choose a print paper size of landscape US paper, 11 by 8.5. So it's 11 wide, 8.5 tall. And then from here, I'm going to go and say File, Import, Place Image. And I'm going to go and place a couple images. One is going to be the shaded image from the preview that we just did. And then the other one I'm going to go to Place, File, Import, Place Image is going to be the download file that I had. So I'm going to go to my downloads, and I'm going to go to All Files. And here's the file that we just did. I have to actually go and open that up really quick. Under my downloads, I have to extract that file and extract, and I think this one's it, and then this is going to be the file that we're going to choose. So I'm just going to drag that to my desktop, and then from here we can go to File, Import, Place Image, and then now we can go and search for, I think it's got to be this one. Open. And so here's our file. And so if we take off the shaded image, what's nice about this file here that came in is it comes in as layers that are editable. So I can turn off water, I can turn off parks, I can turn off outline, I can turn off contours. So if I wanted to diagram the land contours, I could. Okay, so you can see how the vector image comes in as multiple kinds. So I wanted to show that to you in case you wanted to be able to manipulate the graphic that you downloaded from CAD Mapper. Otherwise, this shaded image that comes in is pretty great for diagramming because it has all of our buildings laid out. It's got the roads, it's got the land. The only thing it doesn't really have here is where the water features actually are. So in Google Earth, you can see that there's, in this marina, water is really important to diagram since it's dealing with boats. And so I want to show that, there's this inlet here where water comes through under this bridge. Here's Lake Michigan, here's our inlet, and then here's like a little pond back here too. So what we're going to do here is take that image that we did bring in here. We're going to bring that into a pixlr.com/e, which is a Photoshop editor. So Gravit is an Adobe Illustrator vector-based program, and then Pixlr is our raster-based, Photoshop-based program. So I'm going to go to File, Open Image, and we just need to find where we have our image saved. So here's our image. Now this image here, what I can do is I can make a new layer. That new layer is going to go right on top of this base layer, and that new layer then we're going to use the magic wand, pick our base layer, and select all the areas that we want to show water. I'm going to hold down Shift to select multiple areas. So here's our canal kind of going through here, and then there's also this area here that has water, but you can kind of see that there's a white border here, and then so if I clicked on this, it will actually select everything. And so in order to avoid that, I'm going to just get this region first. I'm going to go up to layer 2, and we're going to click on the paint bucket, and we're going to fill with a blue color where the water exists. And then from here, I'm going to do just like a quick deselect on that area. Just clicking off of it. And I'm going to make a box around just the area that I want. And I'm going to go to crop, image crop. So now it's cropped in real nice and clean. I'm going to go back to the background. I'm going to use my magic wand tool to just get this area here. I'm going to go back up to layer 2 where I have my water. I'm going to use the paint bucket and drop that paint in. And then I'm going to click off of that as well to just deselect. And now here, what I can do is take this watercolor and do an adjustment of hue and saturation, or vibrance actually. I'm going to do an adjustment vibrance. I'm just going to tone it down a bit to make that water look a little bit less cartoony. And then with the background, I'm going to do an adjustment hue and saturation, and we're going to take out a little bit of that color as well, so that way the blue stands out a little bit more, and also our buildings. Now with this, we can take this image and we can say save, and we can save it as a JPEG with some pretty high quality. Here we can call it shaded image colored. So I'm going to do this and download it, and so this image here is in my downloads. And then in grab it, this guy we can actually hide, and we can go and say file, import, place image, and it's in my downloads we said. There it is, open. And so now I have like a good base map. And now this is on page 1. I have this base map. And so I'm going to go and say under symbols, I'm going to make this a symbol, and we're going to call it base map. And this will become my base map that I can bring into any page that I want. So I have my base map, bring it to the top of this stack, and then I'm going to go and bring in a north arrow. So I'm going to go to the nounproject.com, just search for north arrows, and there's all kinds. I'm going to click on one that I like, say get this icon, basic download, continue, PNG file or SVG is fine. Since it's a vector based file, this will also load into Gravit, so that'll work. And then under Gravit, we can go and say file, import, place image, and we can go and find the image that we just got, and we can hold down shift, so that way we can scale this uniformly down, and whoops, we can go and keep either this icon, this north arrow right here, or we can move it. Alright, so now that we have this, I can take this north arrow and I can also turn that into a symbol by adding it, north arrow. And that's something I'm going to want to be able to make on multiple pages. And so now that I have that, I can go back to my layers, and on page 1, I'm going to hold down Control, zoom out with the scroll wheel. Now I can go and start to diagram different things. So one of them might be a walking zone. So things that are interesting nearby that I want to show how far away our building is from that. So I'm going to go and make a circle. And by holding down Shift, when I go and make this circle, I can make it uniform so it doesn't become an oval. And then from here, we're going to make the infill of that circle 0. And we're going to make a border on it be red. 1 point thickness is fine. I can make it 2, whatever. And then we can go and position that where we think is best. We can also take like a ruler guide to just find where we want our building to be, and then we can use that to help position the circle as well. And then with that circle, if we hold down Alt and Shift, then we can make it zoom from the middle. And then if we hold down Control C, Control V, we can copy and paste it. You see how there's 2 now. And I can do the same thing, Alt and Shift, and I can bring that in. So now we can make concentric circles sharing the same center point to diagram, some different walking distances from our site. And so now that I have that in Google Earth, I can go and measure out from our building site, which is right here, some different points. So I can go and put that yacht club back on the map, and I can go and click and find the distance. So let's say 0.35 miles. So then here in my actual diagram, let's say the yacht club is right up here. So this circle here, I'm going to do Alt Shift. We're going to hit that yacht club with that circle, and then we're going to go and create a new ellipse by holding down Shift as well and positioning that right here, doing the fill of black and then a border of red, we can make a little target right there for it. And then this guy, this target, we're going to make that a symbol as well. We're just going to call it target. And then same thing with these circles. We'll make that a symbol, and we'll just call this like walk path. And then under layers, for here we can throw in some text. And here we could just call like, you know, yacht club. And then we can go to bold, and we could just say 0.3 miles. And then if we want to know the walk, there's a walk time calculator that we can go to, and I can just type in 0.30 for everything else, calculate time. It's a 7-minute walk. So then we could just go back to our diagram, and we can double click in, and then we can throw off the bold parentheses 7-minute walk. And then now we've diagrammed, you know, our first thing here. Now that's all page 1. So page 1, we could basically rename this to like walk time diagram. And then we could add in a new page. And so for page 2, we could say like architectural features. And we'll just bring in from our library, our symbols, these different maps that we already have made. And we could just line up our coordinates right there. We could go, whoops, layers. Looks like I'm a little zoomed in. Let me zoom out. There we go. I'm going to go to symbols. I'm going to just drag that in. And now that I'm starting a new map, I'm just going to drag in like one of each. And let's do the symbol maybe for what this looks like. And then I don't really need this guy to come in, so I'm not going to put that in. So architectural features. So now let's say I want to start to diagram architectural features around the area. Let's say in particular here, maybe there's a couple other points of interest. I'm just going to hold down Alt, and that will make a copy as I drag. So we have these items that maybe are of interest that I want to point out. And so then in Google Earth, what I'm going to do is take my person here, and I'm going to drop that person in on any of the blue lines that the Google car has driven by. And whoops, looks like we ended up on the roof for a second. And here I can see that I got a little further out than I wanted. Looks kind of like a cool area to hang out. If I didn't go where I wanted, click back on Photosphere. I want to get the architecture, not the concert. So I'm going to go click in here. It's cool for me to see culturally. Oh, there's some divvy bikes, so I might want to diagram that too if I want to do like a transportation diagram. And so here I'm just going to do a screenshot of new, and we're going to capture, and I don't want that select starting point, but I can crop that out later. And I'm going to just save that snip under capture, and then here I can go and bring that in to grab it as well. So file, and we're going to go to import, place image. I'm going to capture, there we go. And while I have this large, I'm just going to crop out my select starting point mistake. And there we go. And I'm going to go, oops, put that back in there. Now I'm going to hold down Shift so I don't warp it. And we'll just drop that in right here. And we could put a border on this if we want to make it stand out. Maybe we want to go like a light border, and just to differentiate it from what it's up against. That's one way to do that. And we can go in places here, and we can do a text description underneath about kind of what we're seeing, or at least what the location is. And we can go through and make a nice diagram on all the architectural features nearby. And then we could do the same thing. We could make a new page, you know, do the same thing, bring in our library symbols. So now we can make another nice diagram. And this one here, we could do one that's more involved with the climate. So there's a windrows calculator, diagram generator. that Iowa State has, which is really great. So Iowa State University, you can just type in like windrows diagrams, Iowa State University. This will come up, and essentially what you need to do is look up your state. Once you have your state, you want to just zoom in graphically and select the station that is best for your location. And then from here you go to windroses, and then you have one that's a all year plot of the wind intensity. Then you have it by month. What I do is I just pick a winter month, a typical winter month, and then a typical summer month. So let's just say like January and then also July. So you just go and pick those, and so to actually see the month, it's up here. So this is November, here's August, here's July. I'm just going to click on that one, right click, save image as, and it's going to save as a PNG file. So if we brought this into Pixlr, it's going to be able to be more editable. However, we can bring this in straight to Gravit. What I could do is this base map here, I could change the opacity on it to just fade it out, and then my windrows diagram could actually come in a little bit easier to read. So I can go and place the original one back in by going to import place image and going back to my desktop and then doing the multiply effect again. And this might just be a better way to show it, and just dial back, you know, the background base image, so that way I can read the text off of here a little bit better. So that would be a windrows diagram. And then we could also do solar by going to suncalc.org, and we could use our address from Google Maps, go back to Suncalc and paste that in, hit enter, and let's see if we can search for that. June 21st. There we go. I have to wait for it to search it. It clicks on it, and then here, this Suncalc, if we go to, I think if we go to print it, it gives you all your data, and it also gives you the map. All your data is right here as well, and then you might be able to print the map only. And so then here we would have to save it as like a landscape. It's still kind of getting cut off, so we'd want to change that paper side to something that will fit it. And then with this image, if we go to save, we can take that image and overlay it onto our diagram. And it's going to come in as a PDF. Now this image is from the summer solstice, so June 21st. So this is the angle of the sun, the path it takes during the summer when it rises, the angle that it sets at. And then the winter is the bottom one here. And so if we also wanted to do the winter path here, we could just change this to December 21st or 22nd, and then that shows the sun on that bottom arc of when it starts and when it ends. And so then we can go back to Gravit, and we could do another page. We can call this one solar. And with our solar diagram, once again, bring in our base map as a symbol and line that up. Bring in our north arrow as a symbol, line that up, and then we'll do the same thing here. We're going to go to import place image, and we're going to need to search for all files and Suncalc. And we're going to need to use the multiply effect on this as well. And so let's see, Suncalc, and I'm going to have to zoom out, shift, make it smaller, and then let's see, we need to make that a multiply effect. And now if we zoom in, we can see that we have this diagram of this Suncalc on here. And we could do the same thing with our base map if we wanted to lower the opacity to just fade it out so it's a little easier to see. And then if we wanted to take that data from Suncalc, we could go under the print current data. We could go and print this, and we could highlight this text, copy it with Control-C, and then we should be able to go into Gravit and paste that under like a text field. And so there we go, there it is, and then we can highlight it all and change the size of it. And with this text size, just go and place it near the actual diagram. And you can see that there's some editing here for this, but you kind of get the idea. So then the only thing we're really missing from each of these diagrams are titles, right, on the actual graphic themselves. So they obviously need to be finished. The solar and the wind one's pretty much finished, except for the title, but here I want to populate all the other images. And then when you're done, you can go and just do an export PNG. And these images you could bring into a Google slide presentation, and then you can PDF from there. So you can go to File, PDF, your Google slide presentation to download it, and then you have a nice set of PDF diagrams involving your site, which was used all with web-based tools. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to save your work and subscribe.